Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the second video of this Let's Make an RPG Together series or something to that nature. I don't know exactly what we're going to call the series, but probably just something to the lines of Let's Make an RPG, because we're going to be making the entire thing together. But really, it's comes down to Let's Make an RPG in RPG Playground for free, with no download required and with no code knowledge necessary. So today is going to be a little bit of a shorter video. We're just mostly going to go over stuff that we missed last time. We're going to go over some more UI stuff, and we're going to talk about why I'm saying UI instead of just interface like I did last time. So first off, let's go to the Southern Isles. As you'll notice, there's some music that we did not have last time, and that is because I added this in a video that got deleted because it wasn't quite right. So actually, you know what? Let's not get to the Southern Isles that way. Let's go ahead and use our door. So I've actually put a door here, and I've already selected these things. So basically, doors give you the teleports to door blank at blank, which is also in the talk behavior actions. You can insert hero teleports to door blank at blank. You can't make anything else teleport to doors, but the hero, of course, can move from one place to another. Also, each scene has its own scope for what that's worth, and we'll talk about what that means later. But the same name of an NPC will not be found if he's in a different scene. It's essentially each scene is almost like its own game, and you can get teleported. More like a cell. I think maybe a cell is maybe a better term. Each of these levels is going to be its own cell in terms of how the game is reading them. So just for those of you who are familiar with that terminology, a cell is kind of its own little location in a game that doesn't know about anything in the other cells. You can't refer to the things in the other cells from one cell. Now, as we are looking at this, we've made our door, and door is what we do. We just go here. I made an invisible door because I want it to just look like you're walking along the path. I don't really want it to look like you're going into some area. You're just walking along the path to, in this case, the beach. And we'll put another invisible door here as well, just to show you. So it starts with nothing. We can put it to level Southern Isles, and we're not going to want to go to the same door as the other one. So we won't put one for now. And it depends on how you want to do this, because players may not realize that there's doors here just because there's a path. I like to make my games in a way where the visual representations of everything are there for a reason. And if something looks like it can be interacted, it can be. If something looks like there's a path that leads off the screen, it's because it does. And I kind of expect the players to pick up on that to some extent. All right, so let's go back to first, and we'll put this to the second one. This is door 172. Sometimes the door is a little derpy there. It's okay. All right, door 172. So now the doors just lead back and forth, and we can walk seamlessly to our place. Now that we're here, let's talk about some things that we missed last time. That's doors, basically. Probably won't go over too much of the doors anymore. Pretty straightforward. You can select which door you teleport to. Now, it looks like this has the same name. That's just a coincidence, but you'll find that coincidence coming up maybe more often than not, potentially. And there's kind of some complicated reasons for why that happens, but we don't really need to go into that. So anyway, all this is you tell it which level and then which door you want it to teleport you to, and there you go. Just takes you back and forth. Now, one thing that was brought up in last video, I'm getting disk notifications, and it is annoying. I don't want to turn them off right now because we're in the middle of shooting. So this button, yes, this big fill one. So you can see this was what we used last time for, I mentioned for like big deserts or like big oceans. And since this is the ocean, this is a great time to just put in some of our ocean water. Whoop, just big swaths of sea. Whoop. I don't want to put in too much because I feel like excessive tile painting can kind of bog it down. And if I'm going to have islands, kind of dotted throughout, then I might as well just, have those islands. It's not all going to be ocean. I can also always just do this, make the whole thing ocean easily, and then we can still paint over it with our islands. But I don't want to do that either because I just feel like this tool, it's very intense. And since you can't delete it, if I mess up and something is unchangeable, I'd have to just delete this whole scene. So it's a very serious tool if you're going to use that. But it also does other things. Let's say I want to make like a lagoon up here on the beach, but I don't want it to be this square. If I do this, I can expand it out, or I can make it long and thin, or I can make it, we can really customize this. And you can see if you were trying to do this with the paintbrush, this would take an insane amount of time. So that's pretty cool. And it works similarly for like, fences. We can go up here, do this one here. And with this tool, you can expand it out, make it thin, stretch it. Pretty great. Pretty cool function for that tool that I didn't realize until someone threw that in the comments on the last video. Which their comment also in it has a link to a video showing even more stuff about just that tool and some of the stuff you can do there. So with that, I think that's most of the stuff. Oh, let's talk about the music. Levels. This cog is another part of the UI that we didn't go over last time that is pretty important, because this is how you expand your levels, and this is how, or shrink them. In terms of customizing the size either way, and there's also how you'll affect music. So we have ambient radio, music radio, and then of course tile map. As this tile map is expanded out as far as it can go, 144 by 144, just because there's going to be a beach, an ocean, multiple islands. There's a lot going on this, and I really want it to feel like you're kind of exploring, the big ocean blue. And so I want it to be rather large, but that's, there's no reason to do this all the time. For instance, if you're inside of a house or something like that, you probably want it to be a much smaller number than this, just to give that kind of sense of enclosed coziness. Or maybe if it's underground, you want to add that kind of sort of claustrophobic sense to make your players feel like they're in a confined space, or however, whatever preference you have there. Now for the music, it is just what it looks like. We have ambient radio. For here, we pick the Forest Trees Creek. I think that it's the best sound if you're gonna have. Let's just silence this real quick and just listen to that. I think that it does really remind me of waves washing up on a beach. So for me, if I'm trying to create a beach or something area, this Forest Trees Creek is my go-to. I believe the Forest Wind Trees, not bad either. Also not bad. It's both wind. It's not trying to do like a water effect, but I think that if you evoke the images and the sounds kind of match that, it will. I think once this looks like an ocean, this will also help it sound kind of like an ocean. And then because I just want to go for kind of a tropical, almost like a sort of a luau theme, I think that the which one did I do here? Comfort blanket. Yeah, I think that this is a good mix. Now, what's interesting is we've selected this for this area. Now, in this area, it's going to keep playing, even though we didn't select it because it's Autothea's song. We could silence this, and it goes ahead and becomes silent. You see, the music sound start when we come in here, and turn back off when we go up here. We'll probably have different music in this area. This is going to be our starting area. So, moving on from that, this is all tile map. So it says tile map size, but there's also the volume or the music and the ambient radio. Now, in terms of our actions in here, we have interface and tile map. We already talked about doors and some of the other actors and what some of the things they can do. We'll go through a full comprehensive talk behavior thing next time, mostly in terms of all these things the hero can do and breaking down that. And it's just there's a lot to cover there. Even if you're really brushing over it like very lightly, it's because you can't really talk about one by itself. By itself, none of these barely do anything. You almost always want them working together. A lot of these you see check if. You're going to want to almost have some sort of check if thing in there, often checking for tokens. Hero has token, check if an actor really already has a token, and we'll get into the whole concept of tokens and all that next time. But for now, I just want to talk about the tile map and the interface. So tile map is a place where you can adjust the radio and the music on the fly. I think that just adding it into the level via the level screen, via that little settings cog, is probably your best bet. But I have used this before when I had within the same cell, I had multiple different songs I wanted to play depending on where you were. I had a different song, kind of a creepy music play when you went into a graveyard, and then the more triumphant music play when you went back out into the field. And I feel like, those things, music really creates a lot of the atmosphere. So being careful about your music and picking which music you want to play can be really, really useful there. Now, other than that, I think the only thing is, let's go ahead and talk about, and the interface. So that's the tile map. The interface, we already have, see interface info text becomes hi, I'm the interface. So what that does is that makes this happen up here. So this is your interface. So when I talk about the rest of this stuff, even though I called it interface last time, this is the UI or user interface, is this whole website. And then this screen here, which is 99% of what you'll do will be in this screen when you're actually making the game. This is your editing screen. There's also your play screen. So when people are playing, it'll be there. I use this interface to show like where you are in the map, where you are in the game, what level you're at, and where your just current location is, and it kind of adds a little bit of flavor to the world, a little bit of immersion, where these places have names, and that kind of makes them sort of feel more alive. But the most common use for it, I would say, is a lot of people use it to show the next goal. So basically, once you complete a task, the interface will update and show you what your next objective is, where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do. And it can kind of help players be guided along the game so don't get lost, especially since we don't really have save features right now. You really want your players to be able to finish your games in one sitting. And once we do have, save features, which are coming in the future at some point, then the whole concept of making games on the site could be different, because you can make games that people can put back down and then pick back up later. But for now, it really is impactful to your game design and how you want to do things. It's important to know that people really need to be able to kind of finish your game in one sitting, or it needs to be very linear so that you can do a sort of a password system where they pick back up where they left off. And that wouldn't really be super helpful for my games since they're very non-linear. There's also the argument that, well, maybe making nonlinear, big open world exploration RPGs is not the best genre to be creating in a website that doesn't give you the save features. But I think with how easy it is to make action RPGs, right, that I'm swinging my sword in real time, I think this is just a great way to do it. So those are some of the functions there. And then last but not least, the potion. We talked about the potion last time, but it has some new functions because features came out. Premiums came out, sorry. And so we can change it to small, medium, or large, and it also has after pickup actions, which it doesn't say that here, but this is talk behavior as well. So just where this says talk behavior when touched, same thing here, after picked up actions, and it gives you all the same exact things. You'll see the screen looks exactly the same as this screen here. So that's new for the potions. Now, also with premium, there's a couple of additional new features that we'll probably go through later once I have it. I'll be getting premium as well. I just want to show you what it looks like without it. So first off, there's this data unlocks with premium that will allow you to create items so that when you do this drop-down menu, there's more things here based on what you've created in that data section. And they'll have different images. There's a whole catalog of things you can make this look like other than just this little bouncing potion. There's all sorts of swords and wands and other things. It's pretty great. And that really is going to allow us to really expand on what we've been able to do as creators by invoking, kind of requiring less imagination of our players in that sense, and being able to just really have them see what they're picking up and what they're doing there. And people are such visual creatures. It just any sort of additional graphic or image is always going to be a great thing for your game. So I think that's all we're going to go over today. Next time we're going to go over this talk behavior a little bit more, and a little bit more in depth in terms of inserting these actions and stuff. And we're going to do that still with the free version. So we're not going to talk about these premium things in the interface quite yet. But we'll go through everything else, probably mostly in the hero. And it's tough. It's a big concept. I don't even know if I'll be able to fit all of this in one video, because a lot of these have to work together. So like, let's say, check if actor already has a certain token. Hero has token. Which token? Let's say orb. Okay. So this will do something in here if they have this token. But by itself, it does nothing. It literally just checks if you have it and nothing happens. And that's kind of the way a lot of these things are, is that by themselves, they don't really do anything. So you have to insert another action in here within that to make it have any impact on your game. So basically, if they have the orb, we might just have this invisible actor say, congratulations. Else, if they do not have it, we're going to have him say, we must find the orb. Okay, simple as that. You must find the orb, because we don't have one yet. So we can make something good to us, but we'll go over more of that in the actions next time. That just gives you a good example of why it's such a big topic, because you need to put multiple actions within it. So we'll talk about that more next time. And then after that, we'll probably go over some new premium features potentially, and then maybe after that we'll go into actually getting into making our game where we can start implementing the system that we want. The first thing we'll probably do is go ahead and implement a system, we might do this next time, where we can keep track of our gold and experience and how many potions we've collected and things like that. Before we actually implement the experience itself. Implementing something like experience or gold finding is going to need to be implemented in multiple areas. You're going to need to put in a place to spend the gold. You're going to need to put in a place to find the gold. And then I think you should put in a place to keep track of the gold so that players at least have a vague idea of how much gold they have or experience or things like that. Also, levels are going to be a little bit different here, and you'll see why just for the purposes of practicality. But that's all we have today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, checking out the video. I hope this has been informative and helpful, gotten through just a couple of more features. It might be a little bit shorter, but we'll jump back into it next time by going into the talk behavior. Alrighty, thank you so much. Have a good one, and I will see you all later.